Just a second. Okay, so we are going to start. And let me share my screen. Um, Whoever's doing that, if you could turn off the whiteboard. I think that's yeah, there we go. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. Can everybody give me a thumbs up? Okay, so we're going to start now. And okay, so welcome to the September meeting of Read to Respond. It's great to have you guys all here. Um, so here's our agenda. We're going to be talking about our award and then doing our read out loud, which some of you might know is Front Desk by Kelly Yang. Then we're going to have our discussion as usual and talk about community service and how we can respond to our reading, and then Q&A. So here are our awards. I think Chloe talked about them with you guys last week, but just as a refresher if you're new. So we have the awards for dedication and we have awards for writing. So we'll have at the end of the month something for everybody to submit and write, and then basically you win a prize if you'll win a prize maybe, and also one for the most improved. And so our student of the month is Hank Wu. So yay! Um, Thank you for participating and being a great student. Woo! Okay, so now we're gonna get started on reading our book, which is Front Desk by Kelly Yang, and it's gonna be this. Okay, I'm gonna start reading, but at some point I'm going to be calling on people. I'm going to be calling on some of you guys to maybe unmute and read a little too, and this can go towards your participation for the meeting. Chapter 1. My parents told me that America would be this amazing place where we could live in a house with a dog, do whatever we want, and eat hamburgers till we were red in the face. So far, the only part of that we've achieved is the hamburger part, but I was still holding out hope. And the hamburgers here are pretty good. The most incredible burger I've ever had was at the Houston Space Center last summer. We weren't planning on eating there. Everybody knows museum food is 50,000 times more expensive than outside food. But one whiff of the sizzling bacon as we passed by the cafe, and my knees wobbled. My parents must have heard the howls of my stomach because the next thing I knew, my mother was rummaging through her purse for coins. We only had enough money for one hamburger, so we had to share. But man, what a burger! It was a mile high with real bacon and mayonnaise and pickles. My mom likes to tease that I devoured the whole thing in one gulp, leaving the two of them only a couple of crumbs. I'd like to think I gave them more than that. The other thing that was great about that space center was the free air conditioning. We were living in our car that summer, which sounds like a lot of fun, but actually wasn't because our car's AC was busted. So after the burger, my dad parked himself in front of the vent and stayed there the entire rest of the time. It was like he was trying to turn his fingers into popsicles. My mom and I bounced from exhibit to exhibit instead. I could barely keep up with her. She was an engineer back in China, so she loves math and rockets. She oohed and awed over this module and that module. I wished my cousin Shen could have been there. He loves rockets too. So I'm going to stop here for now. Does anybody want to read? You can just raise it. Okay. Eugene? We're going to be
When we
starting.
got to the photo booth, my mother's face lit up. The booth took a picture of you and it made it look like you were a real astronaut in space. I went first. I put my head where the cardboard cutout was and smiled when the guy said cheese. When it was my mom's turn to take her photo, I thought it would be funny to jump into her shot. The result was a picture of her in an astronaut suit hovering over Earth and me standing right next to her in my flip-flop doing bunny ears with my fingers. Should I read more or
That was great. Thank you so much. Does anybody else want to finish up that page? Okay, Ryan. Ryan, did you want to read or cool? So just make sure to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay. My mother's face crumpled when she saw the picture. She pleaded the guy to let her take another one, but he said, "No, can do. One picture per person for a second." I thought she was going to cry. We still have the picture every time I look at it. I wish I could go back in time. If I could do it all over again, I would not photobomb photobomb my mom's picture, and I give more of my burger I give more of my burger. Not the whole thing, but definitely some more bites. At the end of that summer, my dad got a job as an assistant fryer at the at a Chinese restaurant in California. That meant we didn't have to live in our car anymore, and we can move into into a small one bedroom apartment. It also meant my dad brought home fried rice from work every day. Do I keep reading?
No, that was great. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading and then I will keep calling on volunteers as we continue on. But sometimes he'd also bring back big old blisters all up and down his arm. He said they were just allergies, but I didn't think so. I think he got them from frying food all day long in the sizzling wok. My mom got a job in the front of the restaurant as a waitress. Everybody liked her, and she got great tips. She even managed to convince the boss to let me go with her to the restaurant after school, since there was nobody to look after me. My mother's boss was a wrinkly, white-haired Chinese man who reeked of garlic and didn't believe in wasting anything. Not cooking oil, not toilet paper, and certainly not free labor. You think you can handle waitressing, kid? He asked me. Yes, sir, I said. Excitement pulsated in my ear. My first job. I was determined not to let him down. There was just one problem. I was only 9 then and needed 2 hands just to hold one dish steady. The other waitresses managed 5 plates at a time. Some didn't even need hands. They could balance a plate on their shoulder. When the dinner rush came, I too loaded up my carrying tray with 5 dishes. Big mistake. As my small back gave into the mountainous weight, all my dishes came crashing down. Hot soup splashed onto customers, and fried prawns went flying across the restaurant. I was fired on the spot, and so was my mother. No amount of begging or promising to do the dishes for the next gazillion years would change the owner's mind. The whole way home, I fought tears in my eyes. So, do we have any more volunteers for reading? Sophie?
When when do I read or how much do I read?
Just like a paragraph or two, couple paragraphs, maybe 3 if you feel like it.
Okay. I saw my three cousins back home. None of them had ever gotten fired before. Like me, they were only children as well. In China, every child is an only child. And ever since the government decided all families are allowed only one, since none of us had siblings, we were our siblings. Leaving them was the hardest part about leaving China. I didn't want my mom to see me cry in the car, but eventually that night she heard me. She came into my room and sat on my bed. Hey, it's okay, she said in Chinese, hugging me tight. It's not your fault. She wiped a tear from my cheek. Through the thin walls, I could hear the sounds of husbands and wives bickering and babies wailing from the neighboring apartments, each one as cramped as ours. Okay.
Great, thank you so much. Anybody else want to read? Sammy, and you can read from here to the bottom of the page.
Is it the because it's freer here part?
Right here.
Okay. She wiped a tear from my cheek. Through the thin walls, I could hear the sounds of husbands and wives bickering and babies wailing from the neighboring apartments, each one as cramped as ours. Mom, I asked her, why did we come here? Why did we come to America? I repeated. My mother looked away and didn't say anything for a long time. A plane flew overhead. Picture frames on the wall shook. She looked in my eyes. Because it's freer here, she finally said, which didn't make any sense. Nothing was free in America. Everything was so expensive. But, Mom, one day you will understand, she said, kissing the top of my head. Now, go to sleep. I drifted to sleep, thinking about my cousins and missing them and hoping they were missing me back.
Thank you so much, Sammy. Is there anybody else that wants to read? Okay, how about Mia? From here to here.
After my mother got fired from the restaurant, she got very serious about job hunting. She called it getting back on her house. It was 1993 and she brought every Chinese newspaper she could find. She pored over the jobs section with magnifying glass like a scientist. And that's when she came across an unusually listing. A man named Michelle Yao had put an ad out in the Chinese newspaper looking for an experienced motel manager. The ad said that he owned a little motel in Anaheim, California, and he was looking for someone to run the place. The job came with free boarding too. My mother jumped up and grabbed the phone. Our rent then cost almost all my dad's salary, and who said things in America were free?
Thank you so much. And now, maybe if you want to choose somebody to go next, anybody who's raising their hand. Up to you. You can choose whoever goes next.
Kaden.
To her surprise, Mr. Yao was really enthusiastic. He didn't seem to mind that my parents weren't experienced and really liked the fact that they were a couple. Two people for the price of one, he joked in his thick Taiwanese accented Mandarin when we went over to his house the next day. My parents smiled nervously while I tried to stay as still as I could and not screw it up for them. I screwed up my mother's restaurant job. We were sitting in the living room of Mr. Yao's house, or rather his mansion. I made myself look at the floor and not stare at the top of Mr. Yao's head, which was all shiny under the light like it had been painted by egg white. The door opened and a boy my age walked in. He had a t-shirt that said I don't give a, and underneath it a picture of a rat and a donkey. I raised my eyebrow. Jason, Mr. Yao said to the boy, say hello. Hi, Jason muttered. My parents smiled at Jason. What grade are you? They asked in Chinese.
Thank you so much. And now if you want to choose somebody to go next.
Hank.
What grade are you in? They asked him in Chinese. Jason replied in English, I'm going into 5th grade. Same as Mia, my mom said. She smiled at Mr. Yao. Your son's English is so good. She turned to me. Hear that, Mia? No accent. My cheeks burned. I felt my tongue in my mouth like a limp lizard. Of course he speaks good English. He was born here, Mr. Yao said. He speaks native English. Native. I mouthed the word. I wondered if I worked really hard, would I also be able to speak native English one day? Or was that something completely off limits for me? I looked over to my mom, who was shaking her head. Jason disappeared off to his room, and Mr. Yao asked his parents if they had any questions.
Thank you. And now you can choose somebody to go next.
Dennis?
So which part?
Right about here at native.
From native?
Yeah.
Native. I mouth the word. I wonder if I worked really hard. Would I be able to speak native English one day, or was that something completely off limits for me? I looked over at my mom, who was shaking her head. Jason disappeared off to his room, and Mr. Yao asked my parents if they had any questions. Just to make sure, can we live at the motel for free? My mom asked. Yes, Mr. Yao said. And what about? My mom struggled to get the words out. She shook her head, embarrassed to say, will we get paid?
Great. Thank you so much. And now you get to choose somebody.
My sister Angie.
From where to where?
Right here. And what about?
Mm. Oh, right. Payment, Mr. Yao said, like it hadn't dawned on him at all. How's the $5 a customer? I glanced at my mom. I could tell that she was doing math in her head because she always got this dreamy smile on her face. 30 rooms at $5 a room. That's $150 a night, my mom said, her eyes widening. She looked at my dad. That's a lot of money. It was a humongous amount of money. We could buy hamburgers every day for each of us. We wouldn't even have to share. When can you start? Mr. Yao asked.
Thank you. And now you get to choose.
Um, Caden.
Tomorrow, my mom and dad blurted out at the exact same time. Mr. Yao laughed. As my parents got up to shake his hands, Mr. Yao muttered, I have to warn you, it's not the nicest motel in the world. My parents nodded. I can tell it made no difference to them what the motel looked like. It looked like the inside of Greyhound bus toilet for all we cared. At 150 days plus free rent we were in.
Thank you. And just in case you guys don't know what a Greyhound is, it's like yeah, it's a bus. Oh, and I guess that's it. So now we're going to be moving into our discussion. Sorry to those of you guys who didn't get to read, but next time you'll definitely have an opportunity to. So, and thank you guys for participating. So here's our little refresher, or if somebody wants to give sort of a summary of what happened, maybe. Um, how about Hyun?
So basically what was her name? Mia. Mia just like moved from China to America, and she doesn't have a lot of money, so her family's living in a house, or sorry, a car, and this means that they have to like share hamburgers and um stuff like that. And then Mia recently just lost her mom's job, right? So then they find a new job with Mr. Yao, who's like he runs a motel, and they $150 a night.
Great, thanks. So yeah, like Ken said, basically this whole chapter sort of summarizes how Mia and her parents have sort of a hard time adapting um as immigrants, and so they're really jumping onto this opportunity to make money because they've been having such a hard time. So here's our discussion. So there's this quote here, and they say Mia's mom says because it's freer here, when Mia asks why they live there, and they're not, she has no idea why, and she doesn't think it makes sense. So here's some of our questions. Give me 1 second. Oop. Okay. So do you think that Mia's expectations about life in the United States are realistic? How about Brian?
Yes, I think it is realistic because there's not like fictional stuff in there and not like people who have flying wings.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Anybody else have any thoughts? How about Caden?
Which question are we on?
Number one.
I really think that Mia's expectation about life in the US are actually realistic because everything she's been thinking about was actually related to actually when actual people from China came to America.
Hmm.
Because they have to find like jobs, money, and then I think it's a bit unrealistic when her mom said, "Oh, everything's much freer here."
Thank you for sharing. That was really great insight. Okay, what about um Angie? Angie? Do you have something you want to add to the first question?
Yeah, I think like Mia didn't expect how like the US would really like impact her life. She thought like the US wasn't like everything's more expensive and we like it's hard to find a job and stuff. So she thinks like that it's hard.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, so sort of like you guys said, um, definitely they're realistic, and it's sort of sort of shows the real immigrant experience, or how kind of hard it is to really find a good ground in America and really get your life started, and how it's sort of difficult. Um, okay, so we're gonna move on to question two now. So, what do you think Mia's mom meant when she said America is quote unquote freer? Eugene.
I think she means that like you guys they can have siblings. So I'm predicting that she'll get a sibling probably.
Mm.
Because in China only it said you can only be an only child. So I'm assuming that that's what she meant.
Great. Thanks for like connecting that to sort of things that are happening in real life. How about Sophie?
I think that her mom probably meant what she meant when she said America was freer was like there's less restrictions in America than China, even though China is like overall more affordable. But like it's also a lot like the government is a lot more restrictive.
Great. That's great. That's a perfect answer. And does anybody else have anything they want to add? How about Mia?
I think Mia's mother meant that like there's like less rules in America.
Yep, that's great. Okay. So we're thanks for participating in our discussion, and now we're going to move on to community service and how we can help our communities based on front desk. So we can volunteer with local immigrant or refugee centers and sort of help out the people like Mia and from other places too that are sort of living this experience in real life and struggling, and so we can help them with that um, by volunteering in person or making donations. And we can also organize a community clothing swap or donation drive for schools and school supplies. And that's sort of a really important thing that a lot of kids that a lot of kids need, um, especially kids like your age, and they want to go to school and they want to get an education. So does anybody have any other ideas as to how what kinds of community service you guys can do in order to help people like Mia? Um, Hank.
We could create and open up more jobs for immigrants to earn money and have a place to sleep and eat.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Um, Caden.
I feel like a way to help people like Mia could be like maybe inviting them to your house for a while to make sure they get a proper job, give them some clothes maybe, and then also give them some starting money.
That's really nice. Yeah. How about Brian?
To open up like a community to let like immigrants in, like we could provide them with food, clothes, water, and resources to survive every day.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. And Dennis?
I didn't meant to raise the hand.
Oh, that's okay. Um, okay, how about Angie? Just make sure to unmute yourself.
We can like organize a community, like to give people in need, like we could give people like clothes or money and food.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Okay, thanks you guys. So moving on now, just a simple Q&A. So if anybody has any questions or if you guys just want to talk about the book more or if you have any questions about how this might relate to real life, because this is almost based on a real life story. Um, so yeah, anybody have any thoughts or anything they want to share related to this? Hank?
I accidentally left my hand on.
Oh no, that's okay. Okay, so if anybody has any questions or a response to this, you guys can just raise your hands. Mm, Are we good then? Okay. Thank you guys so much for sharing. And so now this is the end of our meeting. We left a little bit early, and that's good. That's great. But yeah, thank you guys so much for participating, and we can't wait to see you guys next week. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, okay. So thank you guys so much for participating, and yeah, have a nice day.